All right, going live in three, two, one. This is the Anna Hummel Factor episode number 12. I'm getting up there pretty high now.
I know, that's like 3 months, right? It
Yes,
feels like it's longer than that.
really?
Yeah, I feel like I've been doing this for a long time. Oh, not that's not a bad thing, but it's just like a regular part of my routine now.
Oh, okay. All right. I forgot. I have to look back to see when the first show was. I forgot myself. So I think you're the officially the longest running show now on this channel.
Yay! Awesome. Awesome, awesome stuff.
So what kind of prize would you like for that?
Just some good wishes. That's
Good
all.
wishes. Okay, good
Yeah.
wishes your way then. So how's everything going with you then?
Well, as would typically happen in true Bubba Radio Network fashion, there's always something going on. Whether there's a case, litigation, show drama, there's just always shit going on. But this is kind of something that's a little bit different. This is like an actual threat to Bubba's safety and probably all of our safety, the people that work there. About 2.5 months ago, it was right before we all got COVID, I want to say. Bubba got a threatening voice message. It was sent to a lawyer, but it was sent to the wrong lawyer. So there's this woman that works for Bubba that her name is Regina Hunter, and this guy, his name's Ken. He called a different Hunter Law, the wrong one, and he left a message basically saying that Bubba better stop talking about him on the air,
Wait,
or
okay,
he's gonna
wait.
like.
Did the guy leave his name? Did I miss that part? I'm sorry. Did you?
No, he left his name, he left his phone number, like he was ready to be like found. He's absolutely batshit crazy, this guy.
Okay.
Like, needs to be in an insane asylum like crazy. He was a retired deputy, so he used to be a fucking cop. And he's like, I have two under my belt and 8 to go. Tell that motherfucker not to mess with me because he's not going to breathe easy. He basically just threatened Bubba's life, and the authorities wouldn't do anything about it. They're like, oh, it wasn't a direct threat. He was kind of like dancing around with his words. He didn't say I'm going to kill you, but he said like, you better breathe easy because like, if you keep this up, you're gonna get into trouble with me. Like threatening stuff, but not a specific threat, if that makes sense. Like it was insinuating he wanted to kill him. So then, about 3 weeks ago, he sends an email to one of the co-hosts on the show, who's like a plastic surgeon in the area who comes on twice a week. And he sent an email to him, and he's like, "Hey, you better stop raping kids," and like just fucking weird allegations. He's like, "Otherwise, I'm gonna come after you and basically kill you." But he was using like a euphemism for it. So we're just like, okay, we notify the authorities. They still don't do anything about it. Then yesterday, right after the show ended, we're about to start the after show.
Could you? I'm sorry. I hate to do this to you.
Mm-hmm.
I got seriously distracted by something here for like the last 10 seconds. And
Oh yeah, no, I can repeat it.
could you? Yeah, you repeat what you said. I seriously
No,
apologize.
no problem.
Something just came
So
across my screen
no,
that
you're
just
totally good. I get it.
okay. Yeah,
So
it's just really okay. Wait, I'm sorry. It just really
no,
blew me out when I saw it. And I sorry. Go ahead. Please repeat that. I'm sorry.
no, no problem. So Bubba gets a threatening voice message. Then the guy sends an email to one of the co-hosts saying that he's basically stop raping kids. I'm going to come after you if you don't quit it. Just threatening shit, weird allegations. And then yesterday, after the main show ended, he fucking showed up. And we have actually a 6.5 minute video of him. Um, the girl who is like Bubba's low key girlfriend, let's just say, she pulled up and saw him. We have a gate enclosing our building. And so he was outside of the gate. He parked across the street and walked over to the gate and was like asking one of the guys that works there, like, hey, is Todd available? Which is Bubba's like, it's not his legal name, but it was his birth name. So then the girl that Bubba's
So
like,
wait. So I gotta ask this: does does he just give out his birth name like on a whim? Does everyone know this? I mean, how?
yeah, everybody knows his name's Todd. Like his birth name was Todd, but he changed his legal name to Bubba the Love Sponge, Clem.
Okay.
Weird shit. Well, not so weird. You get it. You change your name. So this guy is asking for Todd, which no one calls him Todd. Literally no one. His mother even calls him Bubba. So then the woman who is kind of like seeing Bubba pulls up, and she's a retired deputy as well. So she rolls up. She is like one of the most petite women you've ever seen. So like the fucking balls on this chick to get out there. Now, granted, she was strapped, but nevertheless, like she's still a tiny person, you know. And she starts recording him, and he basically said he's gonna slit Bubba's throat. I mean, I could even send you the video at some point. He's gonna, she's gonna, sorry, his name is Ken, is going to slit Bubba's throat, and he's like demanding to see Bubba, Todd, whatever. And we're just like, no, no. And then one of the guys sees what's going on in the camera, runs outside to like help her out because she's just this tiny woman. And he like gets not in his face, but it's like, what's going on, you know? And finally, he.
What's the size? What you're talking about? How petite this woman is, or how small she is? How big is this guy with the that came up to with the threat?
I would probably say he's probably in the ballpark of 6 feet,
Okay.
and she's like maybe 5 foot tall.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
big discrepancy. And just also a petite woman, and like the smallest feet you've ever seen. It was actually really weird. She was walking around the studio one time, and I looked at her feet. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it literally looks like Chinese bound feet. Like they were that small. I was just like, how
Oh.
the fuck? Like her heel and her big toe were like 3.5 inches apart. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So, but she's a sweet, sweet woman, retired deputy, awesome chick. And I'm like,
So she's also retired law enforcement, just like the guy who was there. Then. Okay.
right, there were two like retired cops. So they kind of had, she was trying to like bond with him over that, because that's what, you know, cops do when they're talking to somebody and they want them to talk or just to
Yeah.
cooperate. They're like, oh, you know, he said something about his kids, and she's like, oh, I have kids. Like, how old are your kids? Like, so she was trying to relate to him and stuff. So, you know, she's doing her thing. She's doing a great job. We don't know if he had a weapon on him, but he didn't get violent or anything, and he ended up just, you know, going back to his car and driving away, but said that he would be back, like if Bubba continued, you know, talking about him on the air, which Bubba talks about him on the air like now, but he claimed Bubba was talking about him on the air for 11 years. He's like batshit crazy. Bubba had no clue who he was before all this. It's not like Bubba fucked his wife, you know, something like that. So, just absolutely crazy shit. So we finally we notify authorities again, and now all of our lawyers, his lawyers are getting involved. And we had U.S. Marshals. I don't know if I'm supposed to share that information. We had U.S. Marshals show up today during the show.
Okay.
So Bubba had to take a break.
Can you step back for a second? You said lawyers. Whose lawyers? I missed that. Whose lawyers are you talking about? Was it
Bubba
Bubba's?
has, sorry, I'm like skipping over details because they're a part of my life, but I realize not everybody knows. Bubba has a team of lawyers because Bubba is constantly in a legal battle of some sort. I mean, if you look at him up on Wikipedia, you'll just see a laundry list of different cases. He's been to trial by jury 4 times and gotten off. Like, it's pretty crazy. And that's just like criminal, you know, stuff. Not that doesn't even come close to all the civil suits he's been a part of. So he has a team of lawyers that are, you know, that are featured on the show periodically, and they're Bubba's friends, longtime friends. I mean, some of whom he's known for like 25 years. But when shit hits the fan, which it does often, he gets like the team together. So they like reach out to all their, you know, constituents and all the people, all their connections, people they know, sheriffs they know, because they're pretty elite members of Tampa, you know, Tampa society, in terms of like they know the mayor, they know the sheriff of all the counties. And so the U.S. Marshals came today, which was great. So they were looking for him, and I found out actually an hour before we started talking that he has been arrested. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
Oh.
So,
And any other details you're allowed to share? I'm just amazed.
I mean, I'm sharing everything I know. I don't even. Bubba said everything on the air except the U.S. Marshals thing. That was kind of left. But that was brand new. Like that happened on the after show today, so probably about 11 a.m.
Okay.
So.
Any no injuries then? Everyone is
Everyone's okay.
no
Yeah, but
physical contact was made between anybody as far as no.
no, but it was just really obviously very scary that the guy fucking showed up at our work, you know. I mean, it's easy to all you have to do is type in Bubba Radio Network, it gives you an address. So he just showed up and
Well, he's a cop too, so he probably knows how to. Even if he didn't, he'd probably find it anyway. So I mean,
yeah, but I mean, I mean, anybody could find it, so it's just public information. So it was just really, really scary. I was really worried for Bubba because he's, you know, he's fucking paranoid and he has to carry a gun around. Everybody's carrying a gun at the studio now. So,
was he carrying a gun before? Do you carry a gun?
um, no, but I'm really considering going to purchase a firearm and get my concealed carry.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I did not grow up with guns. My dad had one, but like I never was taught how to operate guns. So I'm very pro Second Amendment, but I don't like guns, if that makes sense.
Okay. I think you and I are pretty much the same on that one. So
Yeah, I really don't like guns. I like that people around me have them, and if shit hits the fan, like, they can protect me and themselves. But
I
I
have.
don't.
Go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, that's it. That's it.
Oh, okay. No, my dad and I are also. My dad would probably be in the same general category as you and I. We don't like guns, but we don't like people saying you can't have guns. But at
Right.
the same time, he and I have both stated we'd love to go to like maybe a target place, do some target practice sometime. With
Oh, like an indoor shooting range or
or
something?
something, yeah, like that, yeah, and or something like that. It could be outdoor as well, but yeah, just to see what it's like. This is to experience what that's like because that seems like it'd be kind of fun. But as far as guns themselves, yeah, I don't really want to. I don't want to own a gun or anything like that. So
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea. And I think that the more that you obviously are exposed to guns, the less that they will scare you. But I've only shot guns one time in my life. And it was with my coworker who actually went out there to confront the guy. And he's like a big gun enthusiast. He has like probably like 40 firearms. So I shot everything from like a Glock to like a shotgun, like and an AR-15, which was kind of like a crazy progression. And then one day to be like, I'm scared, and I had shot this like tiny little like I think it was like a 22 millimeter gun, and then I was like shooting an AR-15.
what about what did the recoil get you?
No, I probably felt safer with like the AR for some reason because the Glock, I don't know, with the top part, I really don't know what it's called. I probably should know. With the recoil, it like snapping back, like that was a lot more jarring than like a larger
Hmm. That's,
gun. But
yeah,
at least with the AR, yeah.
okay, that's interesting. The only thing I've had it for like 6 or 7 years. I do have a concealed weapons permit for Virginia.
Okay.
But Virginia's very easy. If you get a concealed weapons permit, you can get multiple concealed weapons permits. If you can't get one in Florida, you could try for Virginia and try to get one in Virginia, which is easier than most other states. And
Interesting.
that I don't know how that works exactly. Some states will honor other states' concealed weapons permits, even if you're not a resident of that state. So,
Interesting. Okay. Good to know. I don't think it's that hard to get one in Florida. I think it's just a course, and there's definitely a lot of people who are gun enthusiasts and part of Bubba Army, which is like our fan base. So I even had a guy message me today. He's like, "Oh, come to my shop. We can do the course, and you can get your concealed carry." So
well,
I,
Virginia's even easier. You don't even have to go in. You can just take the course online. In fact, you don't even have to
oh
do
my god,
You don't even
really?
do that. In fact, all you have to do is just take the test and get the answers right. That's what I did. So, and you
Oh
can
my
take the test
god, I
online.
definitely think you should probably go in there, like, But
And most of Virginia is pro Second Amendment, even though right now Virginia mostly votes for
it's
Democrats.
yeah.
That's primarily because of Northern Virginia. I don't know if you're familiar with how Virginia is, but the part that's near DC, there's like one, two, three, about four counties that are very pro Democrat. And so once you
Mhm.
get outside those counties, it becomes more, less. They're more pro Second Amendment. So the I live in the county that's just outside of those. So. Even the ones that are more Democrat, I think it's still pretty easy to get the concealed weapons permit. It's based by county here. I don't know what it's like in Florida. So, but it's extremely easy. I was surprised. I only got it because it was so easy to get it. I was at the time I was getting my my passport. I was getting on my, and I was like looking up online things I could get, and I was like, it said one of the things that you could get, one of the things that could be used for identification for a passport was a concealed weapons permit. And so I looked that up, and
Interesting.
I was like, wow, that's pretty easy. It was actually much easier to get the weapons permit than the passport. So, you know,
Interesting.
so, yeah, I mean, it's worth a try. I mean, if if you want to try it, there are several people that have concealed weapons permits from several states. So I've never tried to get one from another state. I just, when I was looking into it, I was like surprised how the laws work. It's kind of weird. So,
Interesting. That's crazy how easy it is. I don't know if it should be that easy, but
well, it shouldn't, there shouldn't be a law to have a concealed weapons permit in the first place if you're a true libertarian. So,
yeah, I know, and I heard people say that. I've had that argument before that it's a right, not a privilege, but I just feel like wait, so what if can you right, I'm trying to think, but in some states you can't even have a concealed carry permit, can you? Or
well,
they're in
no,
every state.
I'm not sure. I know one of the toughest states is New Jersey to get one. It's, you have to have a reason and they have to approve the reason as to why you should have a concealed weapons permit. It's really, I don't know, but I have to look it up again. There used to be, I used to look at these websites back then. I got it back in 2013. So, and I remember looking at all the different states, and there was all the different rules and everything. But all I remember is that New Jersey is probably one of the hardest to get a concealed weapons permit. I'm not sure if there aren't any that, if there's a state that doesn't have one at all. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Interesting. I need to look that up because you're right. It's not like you just because you have you own a firearm doesn't mean that you automatically get your concealed carry. Like those are two separate processes,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
You can have a gun, but have it stored like in your house or something versus like carry it on you. So
you can carry most states that have concealed weapons permits, you can still just carry the gun without a permit as long as it's not concealed.
wait, what? Say that again. You can carry the gun as long as it's not concealed. So like an
Yeah,
open carry, like
exactly. You put your
Texas.
gun. Yeah, it's because that way they know that you have it. In Virginia, you can carry a gun all you want. You don't need to have a concealed weapons permit. The only reason you need to have the concealed weapons permit is so that you can hide it from view. So
Mhm. Oh, I see. Okay.
so
So, but
it's
I
like
mean, you can't
it's
walk around. But and I'm asking. I actually don't know. I'm really ignorant when it comes to this stuff. So, but you can't just like in Virginia, you can't walk around with it. Like, there's not an open carry state, right?
yeah, it is. Virginia's open carry. You can carry the gun. You can't, but you cannot. The two things you can't hold it in your hand. That's the one thing. So
Ah, okay.
unless you're ready to use it for any reason. So
Right. So if you purchase a gun in Virginia, you can carry it openly on display, but you need the extra permit for the concealed carry. Is that
that's
right?
right. Yeah, exactly.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
a lot of states are like that. So a lot of people don't know that. You can just, well, you like just like a cop walks around with a gun that's not concealed. Most cops
Right.
don't conceal their weapons. It's the same
Right.
thing.
You see them on their hip. Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I'm really like not educated at all when it comes to gun laws. And I mean, I should be. I work with like five guys who are, very much pro gun and have multiple guns. But I just, like I said, I really don't like guns, even though I'm pro Second Amendment. So it's this
Yeah,
weird.
I'm the same with you. Like I said, I only got the permit because it was so easy, and I was just getting my, like I
Yeah.
said, at the time I was getting my passport, and it was just like, well, this is. I was just curious, and I was like, wow, this is extremely easy. I did it.
Mhm.
The only part I had to do was I had to show up at the courthouse in person to hand in the paperwork, and other than that, and when I renewed it, it's only good for 5 years. When I renewed it, all I had to do was just mail it in, and I didn't even have to go in the second time, and I got it within like a few weeks. They approved the second one right away. As long as you don't have any, they do a background check on you the second time, and that's
Right.
it. The only
That's
thing I didn't like, and I talked about this before, kind of in a different way, is that in Virginia you have to write on a piece of paper every single name you've gone by legally, any previous legal name you've had, which meant I had to disclose my previous name, which I never do anymore.
mm,
And it pissed me off because I don't do that. And then the guy at the counter said, "Oh, why did you change your name from such and such?" And I gave him this dirty look, and he could tell I didn't like it. I was like, because nobody calls me that name, and I got really pissed. But I didn't get really, I didn't say anything angrily. I made him this, I gave him this, and he turned his head quickly after he said that. I didn't mean to, make him look. I didn't mean to get angry at him, but it just irked me so much that he actually said that name out loud because I don't use it ever. So
How did your parents feel when you changed your name?
My mother did not like it. My dad thought it was pretty cool.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, my mother didn't. She liked it. She liked my original name. She said she chose the name for me, but technically, I mean, they really didn't because my last name was the same as my father. My last name was the same as my father's last name as usual, but my
Hmm.
first name and my middle name were basically the middle names of my both my grandparents. So they didn't really choose the names. They just got
Hmm.
my grandfather's. So
Interesting. Interesting. Because I was wondering about that, like if that's insulting to your parents if you change your name, the
oh
names they gave you. So I didn't know if they would be insulted or if they just didn't care.
well, technically, I changed my name twice because I changed my name when I was 16, but that wasn't a legal change because my dad. I told my name was when I get old enough, I'm going to change my name, and he said, "Well, you don't have to change your name. You can just go by a different name." So I started going by a different name,
Well,
and
can you
then
tell me that name or no?
3 years later, hold on, 3 years later, that's when I changed my name to. And when I was 19, that's when I said, "Well." I was living on my own finally, and I said, "Well, hey, I've been putting off my name change for a while, so I decided to go and change it." You know what's kind of funny? I will say this.
Okay.
Um, it's funny. I mean, it's when I was 19, or when I was 16, the original name I was going to choose is kind of it's similar to what the person you work with. I was going to change my name to Rick Bubba. So,
Oh, interesting. So, what did you want people to call you when you were 16? Was it that?
but yeah, it was most of the time, yeah. I mean, it's the same, essentially the same name I use when I'm on the air. So, I don't use my legal name on the air. I go by a radio name, Rick Dixon. So
Ah, okay, okay.
I never use Zoom on the air except for one time. I was doing WASH. They were doing more. They wanted me to do morning traffic, and they wanted me to use my legal name, and so I used it. I didn't. I was reluctant to do that because I never do that, but they wanted me to do it, so I did it anyway. So it's just that one time. Oh, almost every other time I go by Rick when I'm on the air. So
Interesting. Okay. Interesting stuff. But
the
yeah, go ahead.
yeah what was I gonna lead up I will say my sister, on the other hand, I don't tell people my name. But my sister, on the other hand, she has no problem telling anybody what my name used to be, which drives me crazy. So,
Like
yeah,
your
my
why do you have like why did you dislike your name so much even as like a young child? What
no, no, that's I see. No, you're changing the thing around. No, I don't know if you remember. I said I don't dislike the name. I just don't like being called by that name. I don't like. It's not a bad name at all. It's just that it's very. If you have you ever changed your name or gone by something different? I'm just curious.
no. Uh-uh.
Okay, once you do it, you'll probably understand this. My friend Trevor, that's not his actual name either, so he changed it as well. So
Legally or just
just not legally, no.
oh,
I'm not gonna get into what his name was because I respect the fact. I don't know if he wants me to tell you what his name is. You can just look it up or whatever. I'm sure, but I'm just I want to respect the fact that maybe he doesn't want to be called by his actual name. But
was it because you guys were like radio guys and you wanted to go by
oh
like
no, no, he just wanted to change his name. It had nothing to do with radio at all. So in
oh,
fact, Trevor's not even a radio person. He only did that radio show with me for like a year and a half, and he never went into radio again. So it's I stayed in radio. He left it. So, but no, but my sister has no problems telling anybody. Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting back to. I don't hate the name. It's just what I was leading up to is I hate it when someone calls me by that name as if that's my name still, and it drives
no,
me.
but I mean like why did you want to change it to begin with is what I'm asking.
Well, you said I hated it though, and I'm telling you I didn't hate it.
No, okay, I understand that, but obviously you didn't like it because you
Well, no,
changed it.
I didn't hate it. I wanted to choose my own name. I just wanted to choose my own name, and I wanted something that would make people laugh. I wanted something that would stand out. I was like, this is my name. And it's just a name. It doesn't really matter what I call myself. So let me pick something that sounds fun. So originally I came up with Rick Bubba, and then the Rick Bubba was going to be the last name. And when I finally got to be 19, I decided, well, I can move beyond that. Once I said I came with my name. My first name, um, Zoom is not my first name, by the way, in case you're wondering. I don't know if you know what my first name is. We didn't discuss this at all, did we?
I don't think so. What can you tell me what your legal name is now or
Yeah,
no?
yeah. My first name is Mad Dog.
Mad Dog. Okay.
Yeah, but I
This
don't go
is
by that. Yeah, so usually abbreviate my name M Zoom Zoom Moonchild is how I abbreviate my name. So
so what is can you tell me your full name? Mad Dog Zoom Zoom?
yeah, Mad Dog Zoom Zoom Moonchild.
Moonchild. That's your like first, middle, and last. Middles and last.
Yeah,
Okay.
in fact, when I was teaching, it was they call me Professor Moonchild, which I always thought sounded kind of funny. So
Child. How did you select that name?
I was just putting it together and it just sounded funny because the names just sounded funny at the moment. Oh, you know what? I take the name Zoom. This is kind of interesting. When I was working as a mechanic at a small gas station in Arlington, Virginia. A guy came in. He was a tow truck driver, and his name was Zoom, just like my name is now. And he looked up at me. He said, "I saw the name tag on his shirt, and it said Zoom." And he looked at me and said, "Yeah, Zoom, that's my real name." And it's kind of funny because that's what I tell people a lot nowadays. It's kind of funny that now I'm saying the same thing that he was saying to me. He was later on, he started his own tow truck service called Zoom's Towing. So I never found out what happened to the guy. So I was inspired by that. So I added an extra Zoom on there. So when I,
Gotcha.
when I first changed my name, I was 19. I was very adamant that people call me Zoom, not just Zoom. And eventually I got tired. People just didn't want to do that, so they just called me Zoom. So I said, okay, whatever. So I just made it Zoom after a while. So
Okay. So what do most of your friends call you, Zoom?
yeah, in fact, even my dad now calls me Zoom. My parents and my family are calling me Zoom nowadays.
Well,
Even
that's cool that they respect that.
well, yeah, but it's good, but it's kind of funny because it's like I don't want them to call me that, so it's kind of weird. So like you said, you've never changed your name. So once you change your
Wait, you
name,
don't want your dad to call you Zoom?
no, because it's it's hard to explain unless you can relate to this. When I change my name, other people go through this as well. You want certain people to call you certain things. You don't want people to call you by that name. Like women I date, I don't want women I go out with to call me Zoom
What do you
because
want them to call you?
well, I usually have them called me like Rick or something. So
Oh,
I
okay.
so and the reason for that is because that's a more personal name. So and I just don't that's not, like I said, that's not the name I had when I was born. That's not the name I was born with. So
Mhm.
but it's hard to explain unless you've actually changed your name. It's certain people, I feel more comfortable with calling me by one name versus other people calling me another name. That's all. It's
So would you want your parents to call you Rick?
yeah, yeah,
I see. Okay.
yeah. And yeah, my dad's wife was calling me that, and I didn't like it. It was kind of funny. I felt really uncomfortable when she was calling me that. And
When
then
she was
said,
calling you Rick,
yeah, yeah,
so you wanted her to call you Zoom?
yeah, yeah. It's like I said, it's hard to explain. I mean, they've been married for a while. They got married when I was like 30, I think. So
But wouldn't that be weird if like you wanted your dad to call you Rick, but you wanted her to call you Zoom?
no, not at all.
Oh.
Um, I mean, I didn't say anything but I think I blurted out one time. I didn't mean to get her upset or anything because she's a very extremely nice person. But I think I might have said something like I didn't like the fact that she was calling me that. But I didn't. And then after that, she just started calling me Zoom all the time, which is kind of funny. So, um, and
So can you articulate like why you want certain people? You just said because Rick is more personal.
it's I it's because it's just the people. It's just certain people. It just feels the right way to do it. That's all I can say. I mean, my parents and my family, they should be calling me one. That's the name that they had to go through my name change twice. I did because when I was younger, they called me by a completely different name.
Hmm.
So and then so I told them when I got 16, no, don't call me that name anymore. So it's like that's hard to do with somebody when you know
Sure.
somebody for so long. All of a sudden they say, "Don't call me that anymore," and it's like and it takes a while to get used to. Because Trevor told me the same thing. He would say, "I don't want to be called that anymore," and so it's like he wanted to be called his former name, and so I got used to calling him Trevor, which took a little while. So it takes a while, because you're used to
Hmm.
calling someone a certain name. But yeah, it just I feel more comfortable. It's just a comfort feeling that I have within. I guess it's the best way to describe it.
Okay.
Each person is different. And my sister, like her name is Noelle, and when she was a kid, when she was a baby and very young, we used to call her Nunu. And I used to call her Nunu all the time. I never called her Noelle.
Mm,
And
I like
when
that name.
when she got to be older, apparently, she didn't tell me this, but my dad told me this. She didn't like the name Nunu, so I stopped calling her that, and I started calling her Noelle. And it was very hard. It was extremely hard to start calling her Noelle. It took me a long time to do that. So.
Right, because you were just so used to calling her by her nickname.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, if it's hard to relate to this to you because you've never changed your name. So I mean, I
Yeah,
can't.
I've never even gone by like a nickname before, so I just go by Anna and that's
Like,
it.
maybe let me put it this way: if I were to call, how about your name is constantly mispronounced, right?
Yeah.
Do you like that? Does it bother you?
Um, it doesn't bother me like initially if someone gets my name wrong the first try. That's totally fine because my name is phonetically Anna. But if like people persistently call me by the wrong name, after I've corrected them like more than 5 times, then yeah, I get kind of annoyed because I'm
Okay,
like,
so
not that fucking hard. Like, that's
that's
Anna.
probably the best comparison I can make then at that point for you to
Okay.
relate to. So, when I first changed my name, I would tell people what my name was, and I remember one person in particular. I was working in a shop, and he came in. And he said, "What was your name?" I said, "It was such and such." And he said, and as he after that, every time he saw me, he kept on calling me by that name. I was like 20 years old at that point. I hadn't gone by that my former name since like for 4 years, and he kept on calling me by that name because I was nice enough to tell him what it was. And I'm going to pull my hair out because it was like that's not my like stop calling me by that name. That's not
Right.
mine. It's not my
Right.
name anymore.
Right. Yeah,
So.
it's like an identity thing. Do you think you would change your name again or
Well, that's what I was leading up to. Yeah, originally I was going to change my name every couple of years. Um, so I was going to change it to yeah, like something more funny, more ridiculous sounding, or just whatever, just for fun. But then I got into radio when I was 23. So and when I started getting into radio and I started handing out resumes to get jobs at other places, I realized I can't really change it again because if I do
Mm,
that, people are not going to know who I am at that point
right. Right,
and
right.
completely different name. Like, who's this? And it's like I had to keep that. That's why I was like locked in on that name. So there's no real way for me to change the name anymore. So
Is it a hard legal process to change a name or is it pretty easy? I mean, is it expensive or
no, it's easy. In Virginia, it's easy. In
uh,
fact, they streamline the process. It's like you can just go online, download the documents, and fill it in and turn it in.
that's
I,
it? Okay.
yeah, when I originally did it, there was no internet at the time. So I had to go down to the courthouse. So what they did was they gave me a list. They gave me several copies of people who had changed their name before and said, just use these as a template and insert your names into the where they need to be.
Mm,
And like where your former name or the name your current name is and what you want to change it to. And actually, it was kind of funny because all the forms they gave me were all women who had gotten divorced, and they wanted to
right.
change, they didn't want their husband's last name anymore. So what I did was this is before printers, the nice printers we have now. This is back when you have ugly dot matrix printers. I don't know if you
Right.
remember those, but there's no way you could print up a document at your house. I mean, that like nowadays you can obviously very easily, but back then you could not. Um, so what I had to do is I was working at one of the gas stations I was working at. The office, the owner had a very nice office with a secretary next door. So I walked into that office and she was a very nice person. I said, "I'm going to change my name. Can you type this up for me?" And she said, "Sure." And like she had it typed up within a day or so. And then I took it down to the courthouse. And the funny part was I brought it down within a day. I was contacted by a local newspaper that wanted to do a story on me because I changed my name. And I said, they said, we're calling about you because you changed your name. We want to do a little article
I
about
didn't know
you.
that was public record.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's all that's public. It's courthouse. Everything in the courthouse is public record. So,
Oh, even if you change your name. Okay, all right. Interesting.
and, but the funny part was I didn't know that my name change had gone through yet. so,
Oh,
so
so that's how you found out?
yeah, I found out from the people who at the newspaper, they found out before I did. So, and my sister has a copy of the articles. I could probably show you those sometime if you'd like to see them. So, but
Yeah, that'd be cool.
you can see what I looked like when I was working on cars. I think I was wearing a band at
Did
the
you
time.
wear a jumpsuit?
Yeah, I wore a button-down shirt, but it had my name on it and everything, and I hated that. So uh, I've been worked on cars since I was 24 years old, right when I got into radio. So, so yeah, but yeah, I was also very adamant about the fact I told you I wanted my name to be Zoom Zoom, and people often break it into two words. And every time I would get my new uniforms, they would make it two words, and I'd rip off my name tag and say, "No, you did it wrong. Please do it the correct way."
You wanted one word. Zoom zoom.
Yes, exactly. So
What
I
do,
was
what is people's reaction when they hear your name? Are they like befuddled, or do they laugh? Like, what's the usual reaction?
When I was working on the Greaseman show, Bill Scanlon, who was his producer, he thought I did it for religious reasons. He never asked me, and
Mm.
so that's his reaction. He thought it was for religious. I told him that he asked one day we got into a conversation. He said, "Why'd you change your name?" Or what? I don't know how the conversation came up. And I said, "I changed my name just to make people laugh." And that's when he said, "Oh, I thought you did it because of religious reasons."
No.
So that was his reaction. Um, a lot of people laugh. Well, a lot of people laugh. It's which is pretty cool. They do give me a funny look. I will say this. Since I've been on, I was on what's his Elliot in the Morning Show on DC 101 so many times. I
Hmm.
talk about porn with him. For some reason, we got into porn conversations, and his show's
Okay.
pretty popular. Like if I walk into a place, sometimes people recognize my name because I was on the show on a semi-regular basis. So
Interesting. Okay.
so I get recognized because of that show. I never get recognized because I'm doing my news or traffic because I don't use my real name on the air. I use a different,
Right. Right.
so no one knows. If I did, they may recognize me for that. I mean, I'm on 3 dozen radio stations every day. So
Right. Yeah, it's funny. I had a friend in grad school who did that. I mean, she didn't change her name legally or anything like that, but I remember she went by Silas, and I was like, "Ooh, that's an interesting name." I remember asking her about it, and maybe I saw a girl Claire on the email, like the group email. I'm like, "Who the fuck is this Claire?" She's like, "I'm Claire." I'm like, "I thought you were Silas." She goes, "Oh no, I just that's what I like people to call me." And it was really interesting. And I'm like, "Oh, for how long?" She's like, "I don't know, since I moved to Michigan," which had only been like a year. So I was like, "Wait a second. So you just decided you were going to move to a new city and just have a new name?" And she's like, "Yeah." And like I was like, "That is so cool." And also like I would have never ever that would have never just crossed my mind. Like I'm starting over, like new beginnings. I'm just gonna go to a new place where nobody knows me, and I'm just gonna tell them that my name is something else. Like
oh
that was kind of cool.
yeah, you know what? That works. That's how I did my first name change. That works extremely well because when I was 16 years old, I got my first job, and I'd never worked before except for my paper route. And I went in. It was a Ford dealership. Even though I was in high school, I was still working. I started working on cars. I worked in the new car prep department. I filled out the application. I didn't put down my legal name or my first legal name. So they call me when I changed my name the first time. Everyone just called me Rick. It was
Yeah.
they just accepted it for, and it's like because of that, it caught on extremely fast for me. That is so
Hmm. And
back
so
in
you said you never legally changed your name to Rick. It was your birth name and then Mad Dog, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
or Zoom, yes.
Yeah. Gotcha. Interesting stuff. That's crazy. I wonder if like I know you said you wanted to make people laugh and you didn't want like a generic name or anything like that. Does I mean that obviously probably helps you be more memorable in people's minds if you have like kind of an offbeat name. So that's kind of interesting. Because I mean I'll never forget Silas. She was kind of a quirky girl. Like she was into, it seems like, cosplay, and she had ferrets and stuff. Like she was definitely like a kind of oddball, I guess, not like your conventional girl. But it was just so interesting. I'm just like, "So you just moved here and just started saying your name is Silas?" She's like, "Yeah, I like the name, and I don't know, I wanted to have kind of like like reinvent myself, almost, sort of thing." And I'm like, "That's a fucking cool idea." And like it's just funny because you could just say, "Hey, I'm so and so," and then if that's the first impression, then boom, you're set. You move to a new state, that's your new name now. Like it's crazy.
So that's never for you. That's never crossed your mind. Not even the fact you're in radio, because a lot of radio people don't even go by their real name.
Oh, I know, I know. No, I don't, I always kind of liked my name. It's not super common. But it's not super offbeat or anything like that. But, like Anna, not a lot of people. I mean, I've maybe met one or two in my life. I've met a lot of Annas and stuff. But no, I've always kind of liked my name. I always liked that it was like a palindrome. I always thought it was cool that it started with A. Like I don't know. I always liked it. Didn't want to change it. So.
Well, the one thing this was probably not happened to you. It almost happened to me. Working in traffic because people do multiple radio stations. When I worked for our Shadow Traffic, do you remember Metro and Shadow Traffic? I'm not sure because you don't seem like someone that would remember that.
No, I don't.
Okay, Metro Traffic and Shadow Traffic were the two largest traffic companies across the country. They had offices in several big keys cities. So
Okay.
I worked for Shadow Traffic in DC. And one of the things that they would that was my first traffic reporting job. And that's when I flew for WMAL as an airborne reporter and everything. But a lot of times the radio stations did not like people, they didn't want the same reporter on competing stations. So what they would do is they would tell the reporters they need to use a different name when they go on a different station. And see, I drew the line with that. Unfortunately, I was never forced to do that. So I got to use my on-air name, Rick Dixon, all the
Mhm.
time. So and the idea of switching my on-air name just would really piss me off. I wouldn't mind maybe using my real legal name, Zooms,
Right.
but that's because that's my name. But telling me that I have to use another made-up name, just that kind of like I would draw the line with that at that point. I
I
mean,
got.
and even people who were using their real name were told they had to use a different name on the air on competing radio stations. So, and that's that. I would be that would make me even angrier if I was using my real name and said I had to use a fake name at that point. That would kind of piss me off.
Right, right. Yeah. And it's funny, like with radio, kind of like you said, once you get known as something, like I can't decide now I want to change my name. Like it's done deal. So not that I'm like famous or anything, but I'm established enough where it would be a problem.
Well,
So
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not really the on-air stuff so much, but I think you understand. I'd be like just trying to get a job somewhere else. If someone were to see my name and they were to call references and ask for a different name or something, it's like,
right, yeah, yeah. No, but it's funny. Like I do know a few people who have been on the radio, and I call them by their radio name. I actually never even knew their birth name. Like I worked with this guy named Seth, and he had a wife named Phoebe, and I didn't know that that wasn't her real name, and he was. I think I overheard him talking about like a woman named Jessica that he was with, and I was just like, oh my god, he's cheating on Phoebe. Little did I know that it's the same fucking person. I'm dumb. I didn't know that. Like, so that was funny, but yeah, interesting stuff. Um, I feel like not that you're not transgender or anything like that, but it's kind of like almost similar to that. Like when you have this like new identity and you then choose your new name. Like Ellen Page is now Elliot Page and stuff like that. So, um, did you feel like with your new name was like the death of your old identity? Did you kind of feel like that person has been retired and now you've been reborn? Was it kind of like
no,
experiences?
no, nothing like that. No, I just
Okay.
no. In fact, when I changed my name to Zoom, originally I didn't even go by the name for a while. So it took me a while to get used to it myself. It was because I switched jobs. What happened was I told them what my name was, and then that's when it locked out. It's kind of like when your friend moved to a different area again. It's like
Mm,
I was in
okay.
a completely new environment, and these people didn't know me, so of course they're not going to call me by any previous names. They only knew me by Zoom, so that's what it caught on from there. From that point forward, it got ingrained into my head. It wasn't. And I never felt like a different person. No, not at all. Not a different. It just. I just felt like the closest I could say is I felt like I'd moved on from that name, but not from the life itself. So
I got you.
I think I told you this. Yeah, I think I told you this. This is how we got started on this before. A friend of mine named Scott from way back when I was still in high school, but he had graduated high school. We hung out a lot, and he was on LinkedIn. I was looking him up, and he's like way out in the Midwest somewhere. And it was like he's like the only person I know that I'd really want to get in touch with that I knew me when I under my other name, except for Trevor, of course. And
Hmm.
and I contacted him on LinkedIn, and I had to tell him what my original name was because he didn't know me by Zoom. So, and I would love to see his reaction when he saw what my name was now, because
You like it?
he'd probably be making fun of me for it. He wouldn't be laughing.
Really? Okay.
He was he and I got well. He was kind of strange, but he would probably be making fun of me rather than laughing directly at it, or
Okay.
laughing in the sense because he thought it was kind of
So
not
ridiculous.
yeah, kind of ridiculous. Yeah, yeah. So, but he did friend me on LinkedIn, so we haven't exchanged messages or anything since then, but we are connected now. So
That's so funny. That's too crazy. Um, did you want to transition into like a current event sort of thing,
current, what do you mean?
or do you have something else planned? Because um, I was kind of looking at a few things that I sent you, or if there's anything pressing on your mind that you want to discuss.
Sure. Yeah, we can answer the question from last. I'll look at the question
Oh
from.
yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Cool. Do you think coronavirus came from nature, or do you think it lives from a lab? 19%. This was pretty much the same as last week, percentage-wise. I don't remember what it was, but it was close to this. Out of 3,400 votes, roughly 19% came from nature. 81% overwhelmingly came from a lab. So that's interesting. I think I said this before. I thought it was going to be more like 50-50. So
No. It's from a lab. Or at least that's what your people think. And I agree with them. So
let's see. Excuse me, sorry. Got a little bit of gas there. I apologize. I can't read the first comments. Aline, whatever. It just looks like, I'm sorry, I can't read that.
small
Is
print.
it,
Yeah, Aileen. Yeah, something like that.
the second one down says, is this even a question? Salvador Bahia, I think. It's because of the gravity of the moon. I'm not sure if any of these people are actually answering the question here. I'm still sticking with the bat soup theory. Okay, here we go. And 2 thumbs up on that one. I think made in nature because second coming of Jesus soon. Okay. I think that everything is possible, but we will never know. This is government scam, bro war, bro bio war. Does it say bro bio war? Am I reading that right?
I'm not sure. That's what I see.
Okay. The something China. Oh, blame China. Or is that,
China.
yeah, blame China. Yeah,
Blame.
blame China. Yeah. From motherfucking China. So,
Yeah.
so many people voted lab. The tinfoil hats are truly locked on. What do you think about that one?
Well, I mean, I think it's leaked from a lab. I think it's easy to dismiss something as a conspiracy theory when you don't really want to investigate it but
Mhm.
that's just me.
The one that was saying to watch one of his videos. We won't go there. Nova 6 fight for, does that say Nova 6 fight for freedom? I'm not sure what that means.
Hmm.
Uh, from God angry from us, or for God angry for us. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. I think they were doing something with a bat in a lab in Wuhan. Creative goddamn who made it. I think a lot of people here are using a translator or just don't speak English. No offense there as their
Yeah.
primary language. Um, it came from lab, but leaked internationally from lab. There are other thousands of such disease in inactive form. Okay. Kiss best fan says in general, it doesn't matter where it came from. It was very cleverly used, and that's the problem. What does he mean by that? Cleverly used.
Like cleverly designed? I'm not quite sure.
Well, he said it doesn't matter where it came from, so that means it could have come from nature where it wouldn't be designed, or
Hmm.
maybe it was. And he says it was very cleverly used. That's what who would
Like
be.
maybe it was captured in nature, or maybe he's suggesting it happened naturally, but like the Chinese people harnessed it as a way to effectively like eradicate their older population. I don't know. Like they just kind of let it eat, like they let it out and just didn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like they took advantage of a crisis, is what I'm saying, and used it to their advantage. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe to control their people. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
Okay. Nature will punish us by giving these kind of viruses of what's that say, PF viruses.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they punish us with others, which will impact on on us after 30 to 50 years of their what's that word? I can't remember. What is that word?
That is really small, and I don't have my commencement.
Let's see. Try to put it up in the search things. Commencement. Is that what it says? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like global warming. Okay. Made in China with a 10 thumbs up. Leaked from a lab. Do you know what the abbreviation of COVID-19? China originated virus in December of 2019. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, and the Communist Party tried to cover that up. How do you pronounce his name? I can't pronounce his name. Allowed CCP virus to wreak havoc not only from the West but the entire planet. Zhang Jinping, how do you pronounce his name? I forgot.
Xi Jinping, the president of China.
Yeah, I couldn't remember how to pronounce his name. I recognized
I'm
it.
just kind of guessing, but that's what I heard, but I could be pronouncing it wrong.
Okay. It was Sweet. I think we saw this one before. Sweet is a character from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So
Mhm.
he's Carl Johnson's older brother, in case you're. And Carl Johnson is the main character of the game.
Mm.
I think we read these other ones. It was really came from Area 69. Did you see that one? I think we saw this one.
Yeah, I think that was from last week.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it last week.
Okay. The rest of these we already looked at. So I wanted to go back for a second. I wanted to see a question I just randomly asked. It wasn't during. This is one I asked on my own, not during a show. I want to say, where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, this one. Which Asian country do you like the best? Now, is that I'm not sure what your grammar is, how much you are into grammar, being a grammar person. Does that seem grammatically correct how I wrote that?
Which Asian country do you like the best? I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay, because one of the people in the comment section said, shouldn't that be which Asian country do you like the most? And
Yeah, that's probably right. I think
so,
that the way that we say that just kind of like, what's the word? I mean, that I guess it's kind of slang, it's not proper English. Yeah, which
okay,
Asian country? Yeah, you're right. Whoever told you that is right. Like
okay,
sometimes I interchange fewer and less, and I'm like it should be 15 items or fewer, and sometimes you'll say like 15 items or less, but it should be fewer. So it's like one of those things where it's grammatically incorrect, but most people say which one do you like the best, so.
okay. And here it is right here. It is, yeah, here, I just looked it up. It is correct to say, oh, it is correct to say, do you like the best? I would have written it, do you like it the most, as Ray said. And then the reply is kind of funny. It is grammatically correct, but it's hard to read. And he's not a native English speaker. He's a German guy, meaning I'm from German, apparently. I'm from,
Mhm.
so yeah, I didn't know that. Um, Perhaps that's why I have a fetish for lederhosen. I don't know. Is that Sweden? Is lederhosen from Sweden? I forget.
I don't know. I don't know.
The one thing I wanted to show you that I thought was kind of funny. How many people in here? The top answer in here is Russia, and several people said they didn't know. They said Russia isn't part of Asia.
Oh, yes, it is. I know. I guess people think it's weird because there's white people there, but I mean, I guess I kind of can. It is Asia, but like I would geographically, it's geographically Asia, but I think of it culturally as Eastern Europe. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
The but yeah, several. It was just so funny how many people said it's not part of it. It's not part of that. It's part of it. Yeah.
Because when you say Asians, you don't typically think of like Russians, right? Like, I mean, people in the Middle East are in Asia, like Saudi Arabians are Asians, and you don't really think of them as Asians, obviously. So,
So, do you have a question for this week?
oh shit. I kind of do. This actually crossed my mind today, and I feel like I might be changing my mind on it. Do you think that the military should pay for gender reassignment surgery? Because at
Mm,
first I would have been like, no. But then I was thinking, like, okay, if you have an anxiety disorder, say, and you're in the military, the military will pay for your therapy, will pay for your Prozac, whatever pharmaceuticals you need. So I was like, well, if gender dysphoria is considered a mental illness, like a mental disorder, then is and they want gender reassignment surgery, that's part of the quote treatment, then shouldn't then the military should pay for that thing. So I don't know. I'm curious to hear what people say about that. What do you think? Because there
absolutely
are,
not. No,
because
absolutely not.
yeah, absolutely not. Okay, okay. How is that if gender dysphoria is considered a mental disorder, say like anxiety, depression,
They shouldn't be in the military
schizophrenia?
in the first place. They have mental.
Well,
If they have depression and all that, why would someone like that holding a gun?
I mean, a lot of people, I mean, you think about like people who come back from war, they have anxiety, you're just going to discard them. Like, um, so let's say someone, I mean, say that they've passed all the tests, they've done everything, they just have an issue with depression, or like just say they have an issue with, I don't know, Crohn's disease, whatever it is, but they're able bodied enough to get the job done, right? It's not like they have like one arm and one leg and you're like, dude, you can't be a pilot, sorry. But say that they're able bodied enough. But I mean, everybody, even people who are quote healthy, have like issues that they deal with, maybe they have, I don't know, allergies, whatever the case may be. Like you're a functional person, but you have medical issues. What if one of your quote medical issues is gender dysphoria, because that is considered, if you look in the DSM, that is considered a mental illness, right? I'm just trying to be logically consistent here. So if the military should pay for your antipsychotics or your antidepressants or whatever, should the military also pay for your gender reassignment surgery? I used to say no, but now I'm thinking maybe yes, if we're being logically consistent. What do you think?
All right. So let me say I got it worded right. Do you think the military should pay? That was the word should.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should pay for a gender reassignment surgery. Do you want to add anything more specific to that, or does that sound good?
Do you think the military should pay for gender reassignment surgery? That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, no, anything else to
I
add
think
to
just
that?
yes, no. If they don't care, they don't have to answer the question. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
all right. So ready to post it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. We can come back to that. Well, I have a few minutes here.
But can you elaborate on when you said no, and why do you say no?
Because it's an option to me. It's like it's like you're joining the military. If you have a medical condition, it's needs to be taken care of. Like you're in the military, then they take care of that for you. But this gender reassignment, that's not a necessity. There's no way you can consider that a necessity for any reason. That's completely
I
optional.
mean, like, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, but like, would you consider like antidepressants to be a necessity?
I don't know if I can answer that one. So I don't know. I mean, if you're seriously depressed in the military, shouldn't they discharge you anyway at that point? I mean,
Well,
um,
I mean, like, I mean, not everyone in the military is going to be in perfect health and perfect mental health. Like, people are going to go through stuff. Like, you may be fine and then your wife dies, or you go to war and you come back and you're fucked up. Like, the military, I mean, think about like any
well,
job
yeah,
or any corporation. You're going to have health insurance, right? And it's going to cover certain things.
yeah, if you're in a war, if you get a Purple Heart and you're injured and you're like you said fucked up, then you usually get discharged right away.
Right, but I mean, you still are covered by the military. You still get health insurance. They don't just
Yeah,
discard you,
but that
the
was that
VA.
was beyond their that was something that was part of the job. General reassignment's still an option. That's completely
No,
one.
I get it, but I mean, like, therapy is an option. Like, if you suffer from depression, you don't have to go to therapy. You don't have to take,
Right.
antidepressants. That's an option that is open to you. No one's forcing you to do that, right? Like,
I
I'm just
get it.
playing devil's advocate because I'm trying to get to the bottom of if I think it's a good idea or not.
Oh,
I would have said no, much like you, but if gender dysphoria is a mental illness, we're considering it a mental illness, and if that's the treatment for it in some instances, then if so facto, should the military then should cover it, right? Like,
well, if somebody's that confused to begin with, they shouldn't even be in the military.
yeah,
I
but that's
mean,
not that's not the point. Like, say they get in, they do all the right things, they pass all the tests they're supposed to pass, they are in basic training, they do all the things that everybody's doing. They don't get special treatment in any way in regards to like, oh, you only, your mile time can be 2 minutes slower. Like none of that shit. But say they pass, they do everything, and then, they decide that they want to be the opposite gender, and then they want to go through that. Should the military then, and say they've been now diagnosed with gender dysphoria, should the military then cover the quote treatment? And it doesn't necessarily have to be gender reassigned. Well, I mean, what if they want to take like hormones? Not necessarily saying you're going to make like, a dick out of skin grafted arm or whatever, arm skin. But whatever they want, whether it's just like hormones or if it's genital reassignment surgery or whether it's, I don't know, a breast augmentation. I don't know. I'm just asking what you think.
I got you. Well, it jumps back to the thing I said a while back. Or what if someone is suffering from BIID and they want to have part of their body surgically removed? Should they, and they're in the military, should the army pay for that as well? I mean,
Is that the disability where you feel like you're disabled thing, right?
no, you just feel it's something that part of your body you feel must be
Is
removed, and you,
is foreign.
yeah.
Well, I mean, again, I'm all about just being logically consistent. Like if that is if that is considered a mental illness in the DSM, which I forget what that stands for, DSM, diagnostic, um,
Okay.
Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So the DSM-5, I think that's the most updated version. Like everything in that book it lists all of the mental disorders, and there's new ones constantly coming in and stuff like that. Like being gay was in there, they took that out. But gender dysmorphia is in there. If what is it called? The
Oh, BIID, body
yeah,
into. Okay.
yeah, if that's in there, I mean, like, if we're gonna be logically consistent, then I suppose, yeah, the military should cover that, right? If that's part of the insurance
Well, it's
policy.
illegal though. It's actually illegal. So you're not allowed. For some reason, it's illegal if you want to have like a body part removed, and you're suffering from that. But if you're suffering from gender dysphoria, it's okay to have the body part removed if you're suffering from
That
one.
will probably change, I imagine. I know a lot of doctors that won't perform gender reassignment surgery, and I know that they probably don't want to like remove a fully functional limb or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like, these are kind of in the, what would you call it, like the dark corners of the DSM, but they'll come to light, kind of gay people took the front stage, center stage,
But
20
that's
years
different
ago, and
though.
now it's trans, and then it'll be the BID, whatever you said, so.
Yeah. Yeah, but gay is different. That's a section. That's different. That's completely different. Homosexual is everyone has their own sexual preference. I mean, that's
Well, that
completely
was
different.
in the DSM up until like the 90s, I think. Like it said homosexuality is a mental disorder. So I mean that's the thing is
Okay,
like
I mean,
these things keep evolving is what I'm saying.
gotcha.
So if it's in the if we're just going to make a hard line in the sand and say if it's in the DSM, it's a mental disorder. If it's not, it's not,
I
sort of
got
thing. So that's the only way you can really kind of quantify it, I guess, right? If it's in the book, the Bible of mental disorders, then we got to just say, okay, if it's in there, we got to deal with it, right? But I bet that BII whatever thing, I keep
yeah.
forgetting.
Body
Sorry.
identity, body integrity, and body identity integrity disorder. BIID.
BIID. If the I bet that you'll probably see shit popping up on the internet in a few years, and that will take center stage and be like, I want this doctor to remove my arm because I feel like it shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But I know most doctors would never fucking do that. So well see.
Okay. I got something before we wrap everything up here.
Yeah, yeah.
This I'm going to ask you. I'm going to put it in here intentionally. How do you pronounce? This is a word. It's a proper name. How do you pronounce this word? It's a word that's been in the news lately. It's a proper name. How would you pronounce
It's a
this?
name.
It's a proper name.
Um, Luden. I don't
Oh,
know.
what?
Is that wrong?
That's way off. Are you? It's, the reason I'm bringing this up is
You
because
down?
the reason I'm bringing this up is because the people that are reporting this are constantly mispronouncing it. In fact, they pronounce it just like you did, which really throws me off. I'm surprised people keep on doing that.
Well,
No,
how would you say it?
it's pronounced Loudon.
Mm.
The I find it funny. The Fox News has been reporting this because
Oh, because
uh,
it's loud. It's the word loud, so it's Loudon.
yeah.
Um,
Now I will say this: some of the news organizations that have been reporting this have been spelling it like this. They're spelling it like this, which I can forgive because they don't realize there's another U in there. So that's not.
Loudon. I would probably say that's Loudon, but
Yeah.
with
But
an
that's
extra U.
so you say, oh, so maybe the extra U is what's throwing everyone off, maybe?
But it's weird because I mean I'm pronouncing the first part of the word differently. Loudon, Luden.
Okay. There's Loudoun County is a county that's let's say 1, 2, 3 counties away from DC in Northern Virginia, and it's made the news lately, especially on Fox News because of the national news, that is, because of the some of the because they're trying to enforce critical race theory in the school system. So,
Oh, right,
of course,
right.
the conservatives are harping on that. They're like, "Oh, hey, see, here's a school system that's doing this," and it's of course Fox News has offices in D.C. and Tucker Carlson lives in D.C. So of course he's going to talk about it a lot. And he's no he they he knows how to pronounce it correctly, obviously, because he's from the area. He's going to know. So
Okay. Yeah, no, I've never seen that before, so.
okay, I was surprised. I thought you were going to get it. Like, let me see. I'm going to go ahead and see how Google pronounces it.
Loudon.
Oh, yeah, Google did
Yeah.
Loudon.
Yeah, Google pronounces it correctly. So
There you go.
I just wanted to bring it. I was just curious. I guess it's a common thing then. So, like I said, I've seen other people pronounce it just like you did, who are not from the area, and they'll say Luden, like or Lou or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I'm trying to
So,
think why I thought that. I don't know. I mean, it must just be like like a letter pattern, and that's how you usually spell like OU is like ooh.
okay.
So
Would you say
that's.
Luden or something like that?
I
Would you
said
say?
Luden, yeah.
Okay.
I think OU, I think like ooh. Like I don't think loud, even though I feel like loud is loud.
Well, like
Yeah,
he's
I mean like I don't know, like if I were to spell loud phonetically, I'd probably put like some W's in there. You know what I mean?
okay.
So
Well, loud is spelled like you said. Loud. The word loud is
I
spelled
know,
L.
I know. That's why I'm surprised I said it incorrectly, but it just must be the OU that makes me want to go ooh, So
Okay. Okay. I'm just curious.
yeah,
I'm surprised. I really thought you would get it spelled pronounced correctly. It's the
yeah, I did.
and anyway, it's not a big deal. It really isn't. It's just funny, because it's made national attention lately, and I'm not going to mention the other news or outlets because I don't want to give them attention, but a lot of them just keep on mispronouncing it or just misspelling it. Like I said, I can forgive the spelling because a lot of people don't realize that. But the pronunciation, that you think they'd make the extra effort to pronounce it correctly. Here's another one. This is a small one. How would you pronounce this?
Bowie,
Okay, that is actually correct. Like
like
David
Dave
Bowie.
Bowie.
That's
Yeah.
however, in DC, there's a city that's spelled that way, but it's pronounced Bowie. And it's
BOU or BUOY, like pronounced
it's
like
it's spelled the same way. It's pronounced Bowie.
yeah.
Large city east of DC in Prince George's County in Maryland. And there's also historically, if you're familiar with the Alamo, there was Jim Bowie, and he spelled his name the exact same way. So that's not a big deal. I just thought I'd throw that in there because people will, when they talk about that, they're not from the DC area. They'll say in Bowie, Virginia, or Bowie, Virginia. It's like no, it's Bowie, and it's just funny when people mispronounce something and you can't correct them, of course. So
Right, right.
it's not a big deal. That was not, neither one's really a big deal. But I was a little surprised that you mispronounced the first one. So
Yeah.
okay, let me go back to our question real quick before I wrap everything up here. I'm just kind of curious where it went. 30 votes so far, no responses. 87% yes. Whoa. Well, they're not on my side then. That's interesting. How do you feel about that? I mean,
I'm just more intrigued than anything. I'm just kind of curious to see what people think.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we can come back to that next week then and see where it goes. Cool.
All right. Well, thank you for having me again. It was fun.
Okay, cool. Wrap everything up. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next time.